Welcome all to this another session of Stroke Support India. And we are going to chat today with Shailaja, who is also a member of our Telegram support group and actively interested in supporting the cause and mission of Stroke Support India. I think it will be an interesting chat because after a long time, I am interacting at least with a stroke warrior who has developed an alternate career and is trying to improve upon that. So that is something that we will be also elaborating a little bit as we go along as to how it happened, what were the learnings there, and what were the challenges there now. So welcome, Shailaja. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Taking the time.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you so much. And good evening, everyone. I'll take it from here, sir.
Yeah, no, I will just ask you, I'll take the flow of the conversation. If you can tell us a little bit about post or rather pre-stroke, what were you doing? What was your profession, hobbies, friends? Where do you reside? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
Before stroke, what were you doing?
Okay. So good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Shailaja Bonishwari. I'm from Pondicherry. If you all know Pondicherry, I have been living there for 21 years since my birth. I studied there. My college was Pondicherry Engineering College, and I finished my BTech in 2001, and then I started my BTech in 2001 and I finished it in 2005. I was actively involved in all the activities during my college life, and I was a Veena player since 1997. So I usually, my teacher and myself, we usually do concerts. And after 2005, in 2004 itself, I got placed in Tata Consultancy Services, TCS, and I was posted for a training in Bhubaneswar in 2005. Then I went the training in 2005. After a while, in 2006, I moved to Bangalore for a project in American Express. I worked from 2006 to 2008 in TCS Bangalore. And after some time, my clients wanted me on site. So I moved to Phoenix, Arizona to work with American Express. And I came back to India in 2010 for my marriage. I got married in 2010. I settled down in Bangalore for some time, 2011. Since both of our parents retired from jobs, we thought it'd be good to stay close to Pondicherry. So we got both, myself and my husband, got transferred to TCS Chennai. I worked in TCS Chennai till 2013. In between, my first daughter was born. Her name is Mahati. And after 2011 and 12 in TCS Siruseri, I moved to Standard Chartered Operations, Scope International. So I switched to a career change because my husband got a job there. So we thought it'd be good to work together. Communication is a very big problem in Chennai. So we thought we'll work together. And in 2013, from 2013 to 2015, I worked there. In between, in 2015, I got pregnant with my second child. Things were going very smoothly until now. There are no twists and turns in life. So everything was like predetermined, and we planned things. We did everything like a 5-year plan. We planned things, and it was all going very smooth. And in 2015, it was a normal day. On 9th September 2015, I just went to office, came back home, prepared dinner. Around 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the night, I experienced a very, very bad headache, followed by nausea, and I couldn't even get up from the bed. It was like my whole left side got numb, and I was admitted to the hospital because it was my 27th week of pregnancy. The previous week, I went for a checkup and everything was normal. So we did not really, feel that something's wrong. We never got any, we had no clue as such. So
but
I was admitted.
Just to clarify, there were no, what some people call risk factors. There was no BP, no work tension,
nothing of
no diabetes.
No gestation, no gestation. The previous week the only thing that they suspect is I had a TT vaccination. The previous Saturday. It was a Tuesday in midnight when I got my stroke. So TT is also kind of an infection where I'm vulnerable to blood clots. That's what they say.
TT is what? What is TT?
TT, tetanus shot.
Tetanus, okay.
I got a tetanus shot on that Saturday. So the following Tuesday midnight, I encountered a stroke. That's all. Other than that, and there was no gestational diabetes. I was actively, going to office. The
And there's no
hospital was
prior
just
history in your family also of stroke, or earlier maybe father or parents have some,
actually in our family we have migraine. My father's brother, my uncle, he had migraine. My father seemed to have had migraine, but we did not really have a history about him. But I had migraines
Okay.
since my teenage. I have had migraines, but
Okay.
I usually don't take tablets. I usually take a day rest, because usually my vision and all is the problem at that time. Sometimes I feel it is hurting my eyes at that time, but it actually subsided with age, I should say. I did not encounter those migraines after my college. So these things were actually explained to when I encountered a stroke. And to recall, my father's mother, my maternal grandmother, she died because of a hemorrhagic, brain hemorrhage. But she was 88 years old. She was very normal the previous day. The next day morning, she had a hemorrhage, and she was admitted in the hospital. I remember that.
But
That
in
was
your case, they are attributing it perhaps to a tetanus shot. Is that what the doctors are saying?
no. Then just to say, they said that these kind of blood clots are very common in pregnancy. I was on baby aspirin because during my first pregnancy, the last month I was diagnosed with hypertension.
Okay.
After the ceremony and all that happens right on the 9th month. So after that checkup, I was diagnosed with hypertension. So I was admitted in the hospital 1 week priorly to my due date. So they estimated that hypertension can be a case, and I was on baby aspirin throughout my second pregnancy. Even after that, I have encountered a stroke. That is what is their thing. And whatever test was taken, hematologist was there, neurologist was there. So everything, all the tests that I've conducted has ruled out to be negative on hypertension and on the diabetic side. So they are now still researching the cause as to
So what happened? What were the symptoms you felt, and did you realize or did anyone else around you realize that it is a stroke? How soon?
Actually, around 1 o'clock, I had a very heavy headache. I usually, I woke my husband to get a Dolo 650 actually, but I couldn't even wake him up because he was sleeping on my left side. So I almost I was communicating the whole time. So they called an ambulance. They realized that something is wrong because I was continuously vomiting. I told them to bring a bucket next to my bed because I couldn't get up, and I was continuously vomiting. There was nothing, liquid only. So nausea was there, and the ambulance guy gave me a shot. I was so clear. I was so conscious. I asked him, "See, I'm pregnant. What are you giving me?" I was so conscious at that time, and he said, "No, I'm giving you an MSZ vaccination just to stop your nausea." So I went to the hospital. They took an MRI. They thrombolized me. I was communicating the whole time. I was actually cursing the doctors to give me something to stop my headache. It was such a throbbing pain. I was almost cursing them to give me a sedative. So it was such a throbbing pain. I still remember those things because I was so conscious at that time. And after a while, I woke up and the doctors told me that you'll be fine. Your left side is weak, but we will be monitoring you for any bleeding going forward because you have been thrombolized now. So you should wait in the ICU for some time. That's what they said. So I waited there for almost 48 to 72 hours, actually 3 days. And then that day evening itself, they attempted to make me walk. But it was like, my whole left side was so heavy. I attempted to walk. I gave all my cooperation. But it was like, I did not communicate much at that time because I was like confused state as to what is happening. I really did not know. Like, it was all new to us. So for everyone, it was new, actually, including my husband and also. They all told me that, we'll just keep you under monitoring because I think after thrombolysis, usually there's a massive bleeding that happens. So they were actually monitoring for my baby. Since the heartbeat of the baby was fine, they did not attempt to go for an emergency C-section at that time. It
I think
was
Subhashi
27
has
weeks. They wanted to keep the baby.
Just Subhashi, you have some question. If you can wait, or if you want, you can maybe ask now, or we can wait after some time. You can ask it.
I just good evening. Sorry, good evening. I just want because sorry for interrupting. did she has any type of accident or anything in the last 1 year?
Prior to stroke,
Yeah, prior to stroke.
was there any accident?
No, sir, actually nothing. Yeah,
Okay.
except for the emergency C-section that happened during my first delivery, because the first delivery was a emergency C-section, because we tried for normal delivery. Except for this, there was no surgery or anything that happened, accidents or anything that happened.
Any type of okay, okay,
Injury, head
okay.
injury or something you're asking, right? Like
Yeah,
accidental, right? Yeah, no, nothing,
yeah.
sir. Nothing that was nothing was there. That's what it was all like clear until that time. It was one incident with I actually shook as all actually. So until
Sorry,
then
sir.
we're
Please
yeah,
continue.
no problem, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you
please
for
continue.
asking.
Yeah.
Until that time I had nothing, which went away from the my planning actually. So everything was like I usually plan things ahead and do things all like that. And this incident was such a shock to all my family members that I had to even sit in the hospital and give the big basket deliveries. They never knew what is there, what is not there at home. It was like that. The whole family was dependent on me, that I had to sit in the hospital and order from big basket for home. So everyone was like all were like so dependent on me until then. So nobody, we never had a clue, and until that time. And I
But
waited.
luckily, you did get timely treatment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I should really
Yes.
appreciate. And my gynecologist, she was not there. She was not in station at that time, but she was very. I should say this because so many people have pressurized me to go for an emergency section in the 27th week itself to keep the child in the incubator. But she was so adamant. She said the child's heartbeat is fine. Wait, do not do it now. You are so weak to handle the child now. Don't do it. And they
Okay.
were they were all pressurizing me to give consent for a emergency C-section at that time, but she said no, you are fine. She was in Singapore. She went for some emergency function or graduation for her daughter over there, but she was very adamant on the phone. She gave me so much confidence on the phone that I was like, actually, okay, I stuck to her plan. It's okay, I trusted her. And the doctors around me promised that I'll be under monitoring until they will make sure that I'll walk out of the hospital. You are not going in the wheelchair, you will walk out definitely. That's what they said. So they gave me so much confidence. I was under therapy, and physiotherapy was very very mild because I was pregnant. I couldn't even keep my hand down and get up on the bed. So it was like I was so weak emotionally also, like I was not ready to try anything at that time. So and they gave me a lot of confidence, and it was in Apollo Perungudi in Chennai. And the neurologist, pediatrician, gynecologist, all were there. They planned this section. They took all the results. Hematologist came and he took all the results. There's a hematologist called Mr. Vardarajan. He was the one who actually, ensured that, I can go with a planned C-section during my 42nd week. The child was 3 kg by that time. So they planned it at that time.
But that
And,
was after
it was
discharge from the hospital, after your stroke.
I was discharged. I had some 10 sessions of physiotherapy only.
Okay.
And they asked me to climb stairs, and that's why I usually keep saying the group also to do household chores alone. Nothing else other than
so how many
walking.
days stay in the hospital at that time after your stroke?
9 days. 9 days. On the 9th day I was discharged.
And at that time when you were discharged, you were generally speaking on your own. You were independently walking. Your hand function was relatively there.
No, my hand function was weak. I should say even now my hand function is not up to the mark. I'm typing and all, that is different, but it's still stiff a bit. But like walking, they brought it. Somehow they made me walk. And they told me to do very, very mild household chores, like, drying cloths, folding clothes, and then walking, and then climbing stairs, only with assistance, because I was pregnant. So accidental fall is very, very dangerous at that time. So they told me to do that. And I was given 10 sessions of physiotherapy at home in 10 days.
And after
the
that,
physiotherapist signed it off. He said,
after discharge, also there were some therapies, or it was all you did not do?
Similar kind
physiotherapy
of
sessions,
like like sitting, standing. Yes, only at home, in my home.
How many let's say months did you
I did not center at all. Like they did not ask me to come.
Okay, so you did it on your own.
I continued the exercises. Yes. After 10 sessions, they said walk with assistance. Otherwise, do the exercises, very mild exercises at home.
And
Like,
you
sitting,
did not
standing,
have
like,
a physiotherapist coming at home or something like that. You did it on your own after discharge. Or
after 10 sessions. After 10 sessions at home, I did it on my own. After and by October 15th, I was ready. It was on September 9th. By October 15th, I was ready to go on my own, walking around my apartment.
Okay.
The only problem was switch on or lift keys. I cannot operate with my left hand. Lift keys I cannot operate. Lift pulling and all I cannot do. Otherwise, I was able to survive on my own independently in my apartment at that time. I was even working.
You were still working with
Scope International at that time.
After your discharge also?
Yes. After my discharge, until my girl was born, until March, they actually asked me to come for an internal transfer. That's why I put my paper. Otherwise, they were asking me to work.
Oh, I see.
There was
Okay.
yes. I was still working at that time. I took some leave and I was still working. The only problem was I couldn't type with my left hand. I couldn't operate some keys or switches with my left hand. And I cannot hold dishes with my left hand and eat. I had to sit in a table and eat. Usually I used to keep something in my hand and eat near the TV and all. I couldn't do that.
So I'm just curious again, but at the time of discharge, did they make for example, a discharge summary explaining what had happened, why it had happened, and did they explain to you? Obviously, they're putting it to a tetanus shot. That's what you're telling me. So is it?
No.
There somewhere?
The discharge summary is available. The cause is still unknown. That is there.
Okay, so don't put any cause over there.
No, the cause is still unknown. They attributed it saying that I had the history of headache and vomiting sessions were there on that day night. The cause is still unknown. I suppose my gynecologist is working on a research paper with my name in it. Like, that's what she said. And she said, I had a photo session after this, like with the hospital after the delivery, basically with my baby, so that, they can actually put the case in a magazine, science document, journal, something like that. That's what they said. And when it's released, they said they'll give me, it's almost 5 years now. So they're still trying to get it on the paper, I suppose, because it's very difficult to get. I heard it from another relative who's a doctor in SIMS, Hyderabad. He said, it's very difficult to get a research paper on stroke from India to be published somewhere, because they say that not much research is going on in stroke here, at least. That's what he said. I usually discuss some disability which I'm encountering with him, and he said, that these kind of cases don't really, get documented anywhere from India. I think I was the first. I wanted to bring it up here after these many years, because I suppose that I'm the first pregnant person who was thrombolized successfully, I suppose, because fingers crossed, it was a success at that time. They took a risk. That's what they said. And when my baby was born, the second baby, it was a planned C-section. They timed it properly, and in the 41st week, basically, because they said I'll not get any pain. I'll not get labor pain. That's what they said. And they planned it in the presence of a neurologist, a gynecologist, pediatrician, and a hematologist, so that nothing goes wrong. And then they timed it.
So essentially, you are discharged, but still you are having your job. You're working full time on it. Except
no, and I resigned from there, and I did.
After some time, you resigned because there was an
yes.
internal transfer that you did not want to.
Yes.
Internal transfer in the same city.
It was the same city, but another company where the other company was not very supportive of work from home options and all. Scope is very they are employee friendly actually. They did an internal transfer to my client office, which is Wipro, and the person who he did not really know me, so he was like, everyone has a problem, why don't you come in, kind of
This was pre-COVID. Obviously, this was prior to COVID, or this was COVID times?
No, this was 2015-16, which I'm talking.
Okay, 2015-16, and
yes,
for some time you continued working with Scope from home.
Yes, I worked till February 2016. The episode was in September.
Because of the issue of coming to office with your next transfer, that is why you left them. That is what.
Yes, definitely, because I had a newborn at home. I had another girl who was going to school. I had so many issues which newly came up, and my maternity leave was there for 6 to 8 months actually, but they did not want that. They at least wanted me to come because it was another company and a client basically. So I thought my plans were different, right? When even a stroke was unexpected, but I thought when my delivery is scheduled by October, November, I thought I'll take 6 months break and probably resume back in June. That was my plan. But this was totally away from it. And another thing which I really wanted to say is my family was, I have a mother-in-law who's a chronic diabetic. All of a sudden, she had an infection during January 2016. So it was totally bedridden. I had to take care of her.
Okay, so you had to look after her also, yes.
That and with my brother-in-law's marriage scheduled in July. So I had so many things piled up in my home. I was almost cursing the system of traditional costumes at that time because I couldn't even pin my sari. And all that they expect from an elder daughter-in-law is to tie a sari at all the occasions, right? So I was actually having a very tough time handling a baby, another daughter, ailing mother-in-law, and a huge wedding coming in July. So I was like kind of like I can't take up a new job right now. It is going to be a very tough thing. So I actually left the job because of my own constraints.
So then what
All of a
happened
sudden,
after you left the job and after all these ceremonies, marriage, etc., got over? Did you try to look for an alternate job, or what did you do?
yes, sir, because I had a baby in hand, so I had to stay at home. That is there for, and I had to. The first achievement that I should say was I took my vehicle in November. That was my first achievement. Now, November 18th, my daughter was born. We had this December floods coming in. So, November time, I had to put my elder daughter in another school. So, totally unexpected. I went one day and I had to get the application form. There was a call from the school. I did not expect how that willpower came to me. I really took my vehicle after almost 3 months and I drove it. Actually, that was the first achievement that I did in 3 months after my stroke. I did not expect, because I know I had to get that particular thing done on that day itself because of, it was a last minute notice from the school. So I took that. And
that was
after
a car. You drove a car?
No, it was a two-wheeler.
Okay.
It was a two-wheeler. That gave me some real confidence. And my husband had to go on a foreign commitment in December. I supported the whole family and during the December floods in Chennai single-handedly. So those two incidents actually boosted my confidence very much. So
That's
no
right.
power, nothing at that time. And, we actually survived through it. Just 3 people with a small child, 2-month child, and we actually survived through. So those things actually boosted my confidence. And when my mother-in-law came back very sick, so we admitted her. I took care of her also. And, this whole marriage thing we got over. And because of all these constraints only, I left my job. Otherwise, it was not because of stroke only. Not like that.
I hear you. So this you're talking about December 2016, right? The floods. When was
15 itself?
2015. Okay. So then you started looking for a job again?
Yes. Actually, I wanted to stick to a job because I found out that not many people are now supportive enough. They are also very aged. So I thought it is good to shift my career also and see. So actually, the company was calling me back with the condition that I have to come to office for 2 days a week. But that was also not going to work out because I was doing the pickup, drop and everything for my other kid. So that is going to be a problem. So I started to look out for some other jobs like teacher training or something. So there was a IGCSE Cambridge curriculum teacher training which was happening next to my home. I enrolled myself into it. I had a yoga training also going on there. So from 9 to 10, I used to go there, study and then do some yoga and then pick up my daughter again and come back. So that is how I timed it. By the time I finished the course, it was a 12-month course, actually 1-year course. By the time I finished the course, I got some internship trainings in the same school. It was also along my own timing. It's like 9 to 12, it got over so that I can go and pick up my elder daughter and come back home. I usually take my younger daughter with me because there's a school affiliated to it. Okay. There's a small playpen kind of thing, so she can play there. So that is what I used to do. So without any support, doing all these things was like, it was giving me enough confidence to go forward and do something different. So I got some internship programs also in the same school where I can work also part-time. So by the time I finished this course, I got placed in the same school and this pandemic started actually. The school upgraded from Montessori to K-12. Pandemic started. So they were going to a virtual platform completely. They were in need of people who knew software engineering also better, right? Teachers who are equipped with software knowledge. So we set up the whole MS Teams platform. We did everything from offline, and they were actually quite satisfied with our performance. So we got recruited as teachers there itself. So almost one and a half years.
Very fortunate coming together of various events that your also needed.
Yes. So things worked out. Yes, things worked out in favor of me at that time, to be very frank. So it was a kind of, the need of the hour where people with a bit of software knowledge were actually required at that time in teaching line. So it became more of a edu tech industry now, right? So that is how it became. So we were, I started giving training to other teachers who were actually very good teachers, but they did not know how to operate computers or how to operate different software. So we actually started giving trainings to them. I became a head mentor of the science department there.
Okay.
So that is how it grew.
You are continuing in that role now.
Yes, now I have taken a franchisee. I'm also training teachers in my own academy. I've started a new academy called Pragya Excellence Academy. I've started training teachers there. So I have released one batch where we had 2 teachers, and the next batch is going to write their exams in 29th November. So very happy that I can help people to pursue their own career now.
And this was also this IGCSE curriculum or the same curriculum that you did? You are this Pragya teacher is in the same.
Yes. There are 7 papers, which is actually pertaining to Cambridge curriculum of teaching. If they want to go for Montessori also, they can go, because I'm teaching them a different approach, which is not Maria Montessori approach, which is Reggio Emilia approach. It's a new age approach for teaching Montessori kids. So people who want to stick to Montessori also can go with that approach. If they want to go for Cambridge curriculum, they can teach till 5th to 7th grade. Not more than that with this degree, basically. These diploma programs, they cannot teach more than that.
And it's a 1-year course that you are.
It's, advanced diploma, PG diploma, there's another course. So PG people can pursue. So these 2 courses attribute to 9 and 12 months course.
So wonderful. In some ways, it turns out for the better, maybe, right?
Yes. So basically, I identified. Yes, definitely. If at all I would have stayed in my own forte, then I wouldn't even have identified that I can help out people like this. Actually, what I sensed was I used to ask people like, why this is happening. I was so healthy. I was so conscious with my eating. I was so conscious with my food. I am a pure vegetarian actually. I was so conscious with my food. I usually don't, go for, even in Arizona, I used to cook my own food and take it to office. So it was not always like that. I never went for any restaurants. I usually eat only in Subways if I go to LA or LB. I was so conscious all the time. And why did this happen to me? I was like really not very happy when this happened. And everyone started targeting my job, which was the most painful part, which because I'm a person who aspired to work till my resignation or retirement or something, which was like my dream to do. So like, I usually tell even to my husband, he's studied with me, he's well known to me actually even before marriage. So I usually tell him that, if I want to retire though, I'll retire later. I'll work till then. Nothing can put me down. That was my plan. So why did this happen to me? Everyone was started to target software. So I usually keep my mental state clear always. That was my thing. You are confident with something, right? Like you usually say that, no, this is not going to happen to me. I'm always clear. I usually plan things ahead, like that you say, right? Like that. I've always never took everything to my head. Even if it was a delivery deadline or something, I usually plan ahead. I never stretch things till the last minute and take tension and all. If I can't do, I usually say before 1 week. So I never wanted it. And everyone started saying this software engineering people, they're always like this. They usually stress a lot. They get all the ailments and all that. That was the most painful part. And all I wanted to do that time was to return back to my job and show them that this is not the case. But I was like thinking, okay, so many constraints. It's not the time to challenge somebody and do something out of my scope. No. So slowly, I started regaining some other time and, get some confidence somewhere. And I should say that, most of the time my daughter, she was also very understanding. She was just 4 years old at that time. She was also very confident. She did not really, she was by my side in the hospital all the time. So she was also there for me. In that age, the kind of understand that she displayed was awesome, actually. So that is there. And my husband also, he was like, he never pressurized me to do anything. The first time I made tea after my stroke was like a celebration for the family. you know, I couldn't even
Great.
hold that.
What about the role of other family members? Did anyone else support you, or were they helpful in any manner? Or
Yeah.
how did that? What do you think about that?
Yeah, apart from my elder daughter, and my husband, I should say my father. My father is like a, very big support to me still since my young age. So he's not like a father; he's like a friend only to me, like, even now. So I usually share all my fears and everything to him very openly. So the apart from the respect thing, I usually do not hide anything from him. So it's like I usually say, and usually I was like, he was in a very big position at that time. He was chief engineer of Public Works Department in PWD, which is like a collector grade.
Okay.
He left all those things for 9 days and stayed next to me, giving me confidence. And he also had a tough time, in fact, because it was all flooding, and during my delivery, he also had a very uh, he also underwent a lot of stress at that time. My in-laws were very supportive. In fact, they were so scared that they couldn't, probably put things. It was not the words. Probably, they were like taking care of me so much that they were not able to express things. They were always crying. So the amount of care that they showed was awesome at that time, really. And my parents were a pillar of support at that time. They were like, no, this is nothing. It's just a phase of life. They, even though did not understand much medically, they were like very clear about that. I'll steer clear of all these things in some time. So the
And now
immediate
that
friends of
almost
mine.
6 years have passed, right? 2015, almost 6 years have passed. Do
Yes,
you
sir.
still feel some deficits, or you feel perfectly fine?
I still feel a lot of deficits. The problem is, I said, right, the fear of going to a new place.
There is
Basically,
fear.
that is always there. I feel there's a field of vision problem in my left side.
Okay.
I have not seen a very positive response from doctors when I say this, but I've been having a very tough time. Basically, I can't see more than some distance
No,
in
it has
the
been
left.
diagnosed. Has it been diagnosed that you have a problem, or is
Yeah,
it?
yeah. I've been telling them, and they say that probably the eye exercises may help for some time. Probably it should come back. That's what they're saying. They're saying that it's reactivated. I still feel a lot of numbness on this side. This sides basically. I feel sometimes water dripping when I drink water.
Okay.
That is there because these are very fine nerves. That's what they say. It takes time to develop. Facial side, leg though. So the problem with the issue is that when we walk, we tend to walk a lot. It becomes an involuntary practice, and I think we have been trained to do that all the time. So leg, when we are recovered with the leg, I think we take things for granted. Hands, though, I'm not very confident even now. Holding only with the left hand is a very big difficult thing for me even now. With both the hands only. So deficits are still there. Even after 6 years, I feel there's a lot of deficits. Sometimes there are days, bad days, where I, have terrible pain on the left side, stiffness and terrible pain. I showed two instruments. I forgot to bring them here.
Yes, yes, you had.
So I usually practice them. So that has developed the palm stiffness basically, because the palm palm is usually heavy most of the time until last year. And even now I have this numbness in the fingertips. So I play Veena, but not up to the speed. I persuaded myself to go for grade exams purposely because of this, because I put my daughter in vocals. I went for grade exams to perform Veena for level 1 and level 2. I was a person who gave concerts in Pondicherry. I started from step 0 now.
So
I
which grade are you
usually
now? Did you manage to clear any of the grades?
pre-grade and first grade I managed to clear. I
Okay.
passed with distinction, but that is like preliminary Veena only. I used to, my teacher came to my second daughter's naming function, so she was telling me that I usually come to Pondicherry on the morning from Bangalore, and I go for the practice after having my breakfast with the Mridangam person. 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, we'll go directly to concert with my teacher. That is how my proficiency was. And now I'm starting again from step zero. So that is how it is.
I'm sure with time you'll get.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
That's why I persuaded myself to go for grade exams with my kid. No, I thought otherwise I'll not practice. So let me go for exams. This is an academy called Bridge Academy here. I think it's there worldwide. And there are grade exams. There's a pre-grade exam first, and then there's a grade 1, grade 2. So grade 1 exam I have passed.
So at any time, did you consider taking, or even now, maybe some alternative therapies such as Ayurveda or, Varma Therapy or something? Maybe people suggest.
Yes, sir. Yes, I wanted to tell about that. Basically, there's a friend of mine who actually, she is a Varma therapist. I even, referred her this group. So
Okay.
she'll join in sometime probably. She's actually shifting from Madurai to Chennai. So there's a shift that she's trying to do, place a location shift so that she can start with patients here. And she gave me some therapy in some exercises which I do daily nowadays. Yes, I believe in all those therapies, acupuncture and all. The only problem is time. Basically, in my family setup, so from morning till evening, everyone is like kids are totally dependent on me. They don't have any other. And after this pandemic, so everyone is stuck at home. So currently, I'm doing the exercises with my kids also. Sometimes, they also do it along with me. And there's a lot of improvement after I went for those therapies. In Varma therapy, yes, sir. In Varma therapy, she usually touches the nerves. That's what she did. For 2-3 sittings, she asked me to come. And then she said, that's what, she's not here. She's in Madurai. She came in for her in-laws house, which is in my apartment. So she told me that this is a very good therapy. Why don't you try it? So I went to for 2-3 sittings. It was very good actually. I could see, with probably with time, there'll be a real change in my, nervous system with that treatment. I could sense it is really useful. And the way she approached also was nice. Like, she went very slowly, starting from my upper shoulder and then, to my forearm and then to my palms. So the way it was done also was good. And she said eventually, one thing which I wanted to say was, she did a very good posture correction in my legs, because when I walk, I can kind of have a small limp on my left side. I had it before this therapy, and I can sense there's an improvement on that. So I believe that this Varma therapy will definitely help. Because of her location issues, I couldn't continue with the treatment currently. When she moves here, we'll probably continue.
So at the time of your discharge, did the hospital, for example, we're talking about it, before the meeting also started, did the hospital, I mean, you're talking of course, 2015, 16, but did anyone, or did you find, or did you try to find any, a support network at that time?
Very unfortunate to say that nobody wanted to really talk to me about this. First of all, they were like, we're all fine. Why do you want to do something? That was their approach towards this. Ailment is my, at least here in India, or I don't know how but nobody wanted to really, even my neurologist, whenever I go, I used to say that, I went for subsequent.
Sorry, we lost you. Subsequent what? I think I lost you. There's a network problem.
I'm here.
Okay.
Mine seems.
Yeah, now it's better. I can. So you were saying your doctor also did not recommend something. What was that?
Yes, my doctors also did not want me to subsequently visit the hospital because of infection. That is what they were keeping on telling me. Nobody wanted to hear me out, or even when I lament, he was smiling and saying, "It'll all get fine with time. No problem. Don't worry." That's what. He never referred me to any other therapy as such.
But
I
considering
don't
that you are
know.
an IT professional, considering that you worked in US, etc., did you at any time, between 2015 and now, did it come to your mind that, okay, let me see if there's any support network that I can join, or, that people can perhaps interact with? Did you
Yes.
find any?
Yes. That's why I usually keep searching everywhere. But in fact, when I go for these kind of searches, like I should also say that 2-3 years back, I had gadgets were not this much. I did not use gadgets, also fearing the use of my left hand, sir. Not because of situation and all, I cannot say. Fearing the use of my left hand, I did not go with the gadgets also. But I usually search in the cell phone and all. But I did not find any network as such in India before. I saw some physiotherapy centers, and my physiotherapy, my therapist who gave me therapy, right? She also said me, like, go ahead. It is like, it'll get fine with time. But nobody offered any other assistance later. They did not. They were saying that you are totally fine. Why? What next? Go ahead with your life. As I said before, nobody wanted to discuss these things with us and see what is happening, except for my gynecologist. She was very supportive. She was asking me, yes, what's happening with your vena practice? How are your fingertips doing? Are you facing any fatigue? Nobody asked all these things. Even if I'm having some headache in the morning, or I felt initially I had so much I told you that I went for this teacher training and all. I really felt a lot sleepy in those classes. I couldn't concentrate for even half an hour. That was my case. While I used to sit for 16 hours meetings before pre-stroke, 16-hour war room meetings and all, because I was working in banks. All the issues are critical over there. Any kind of small real-time failure is critical over there. I usually sit in a war room meeting for 16 hours with just 2 cups of Earl Grey tea and sit and finish it off. I couldn't even concentrate for half an hour here in this class. I was feeling so sleepy. The amount of fatigue that I encountered was enormous, and whenever I wanted to talk about it, there was nobody to discuss this. That is one important thing, that's why I joined this group. I saw these blog posts and all, right? I really felt that sharing what we experience is not happening, at least here. That is what I felt. But there are some support groups in foreign countries, I suppose, where even guitar after stroke, one of my friends started it, where when we posted this vena thing and string instrument problem and all, I think there's another group where they started all. There is nobody else who are discussing interest, basically, because in your lifetime you may have some other interest which you're not even able to pursue per day, even for half an hour, because of your ailment all of a sudden. Then there's nobody to discuss it. So nobody wanted to discuss this with me. After I got to look normal, basically. There was nothing drooping in my face, right? So that is what they see, I suppose.
See, at the same time, Sharja, it's also like this, I think, to my mind. See, given that after all, there is a paucity of experts in India, and for that matter, anywhere in the world. So a person will focus, a doctor would naturally focus on someone who's perhaps more in need. And after all, there is a very limited time. Everyone has got maybe 12 hours of work. So to you, they would encourage that, okay, you don't know perhaps at that time that you are far, far better than many others, for example, because you
right.
no comparisons. But from the doctor's perspective, because he's seeing many patients, and he's rightly perhaps telling you that, see, you're very lucky, you're very good, you're very fine, because in his mind, he has a datum, a comparison.
Rightly said, sir. When I read Sir Gopi sir's post, right, on the stroke warrior page, he used to write, he has written some points which are not even acceptable here, which I really wanted to tell you. He said, the Gopi sir, Gopi sir, sir's post. So take the help of a cane, take the help of a person. It doesn't matter. Nobody wants to really, look like that. So I've seen people who, my doctors did not want me to use anything because they said you will get accustomed to it, don't go for it. That's what they said. But taking the help of another person or a small instrument doesn't really look good over here, at least for my age. That's why I felt. So they don't, really want us to display our.
See, it cuts both ways, as you rightly said. See, one is perhaps you will get used to it.
Yes.
On hearing also that exert more, get out of your comfort zone, extend your comfort zone. So if I am using, let's say, a walking stick, so okay, walking stick to hai, so now I'm dependent on the walking stick. On the other hand, agar, like we talk of, we talk here off and on of constraint induced movement therapy, where deliberately your working hand is, for example, blocked, so as to force you to work via the affected limb. So I think it's a balance. If you don't work, if you get into a comfort zone, then you're not going to exert. That is also there. So that is it's a balance, I think. And yes, everyone's situation might also be very, very.
Yes, yes. The good thing was I was communicating all the time. So the people were like comfortable. I did not have any.
No, and you are an excellent communicator, and you are very clear in your mind, even now. So that of course shows, and that has shown, in your recovery. That has shown in the career change that you have done, in the path that you have taken. So that is there. So wonderful. Any
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
that you would like to give, maybe out of your experience?
Yeah, sir, definitely. I would say that this is not a. I mean, doctors tell me that I usually encounter and that they encounter patients who literally cry after the stroke and all, and you are simply watching us and all that. I usually say, I mean, I wanted to say other warriors that this is definitely not the end of the world, like, because I have come far away from it, starting from step zero. I was at a phase where I thought I have accomplished everything. I've done things up to the mark, and I'm actually a very perfect freak also. Actually, keep things clean, home clean and all. I couldn't stand the sight of others, not cleaning my home. That is also there. So I wanted to get back to routine as soon as possible. So I should say to all the others, like, if we put our will into it, definitely we are definitely going to come out of it. Nothing else, no medicine, nothing is going to be fruitful. We can always overcome this. That's what I have really experienced or learned from this, because I feel that this is something that really God has put me through on purpose, to show something, probably to my kids, at least, not to the world, at least to my nearest family. They're telling that
No,
this is
absolutely. I
nothing.
think if you find purpose in your adversities, there are different ways. We have, in fact, we'll be having maybe 2 weeks down the line. From US, Dave will be logging in, who is or was an actor, a Hollywood actor, producer, and now a pastor. He is preaching the word of God, and strongly believes that he has a purpose now, perhaps more than he had before stroke. So to that extent, yes, certainly purpose and determination. And
Yes, definitely. I feel that this is what I want to say, everybody, those who are encountering something like this, you have a bigger purpose in life, to at least say to the world that this is not going to stop you, or this is nothing, get away from it, or you can always give your best shot, and you can always come get over it. So that is what I feel. So I wanted to, even in that video, that is what I said. Any kind of stroke or any kind of disability we encounter is going to prove to the world that we are actually going to get away from it, or get over it, basically. So
right.
I also have a strong hold on spirituality. I keep this Golu Navratri and everything with a lot of confidence. So it was a very difficult time, to see people not doing things at my home when I was still there. Like, it was September, November, Dasara time and all this, Vinayagar Chaduthi time and all. And nobody was there to, get my home lit and, all lighted up and all. And it was very difficult at that time. So I took an oath that this is not going to happen. Come on, let's get up and do something. my home should be like my home. So
Yeah,
that is
indeed.
what.
Determination is, I think, the first step, increasingly. And in fact, perhaps, I sometimes wonder, stroke is unique in that manner, perhaps, where more than perhaps even medicines and doctors, it's your own personality and your determination. And that is,
Yeah.
I think, is also a major purpose of the groups, the stroke support groups, to tell each other, to demonstrate, to whoever is around, that it is your determination and willpower that is.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I wanted to share. This is the book I'm reading. I think someone posted this, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind
Which
by
is that?
Joseph.
Which one is
Yeah,
that?
by Joseph Murray, Power of Your Subconscious Mind.
Okay.
So this is the book that I've been reading repeatedly. Okay, so I have read it at least 5-6 times now. So
Uh-huh.
repeatedly I keep reading because I think that you can get over anything, starting from a small cold and cough, even when you are determined to work with your subconscious mind. So I wanted to recommend this book also in this forum to everyone. I know it is like a repetition. You may feel that there are facts which is repeating on from page to page, telling that believe in your mind, or but that gives a lot of strength if you believe in it really. So that is what I want to say. People may think that this book is just telling facts repeatedly for each chapter. It's not that. It's telling a different thing when you really feel it.
No, indeed. There are many. For example, we had Brisa also on our group, and
Secret, basically, like that
he,
raw.
he
Yeah.
follows the secret. And
Yes.
but I don't know. I personally, I don't know. Maybe it's my engineering background come in, because to me, I at least to me, at least as of now, sometimes it's very difficult, because how do I know whether it's my faith is enough? I mean, one can, for example, if you talk of science, if I throw a ball up in the air, 100 out of 100 times, it will fall down. It has got nothing to do with my faith. And
Yeah.
does not fall down, then science goes a little bit further, tries to find out why it doesn't, creates a hypothesis and maybe adds on. And that, in faith, when you talk of faith, at least to me, the challenge is, how do I realize whether I have enough faith or not? Is it lack of my faith? And how do I then get more faith? Because we don't know.
I will
I
zero
think.
into it to God. It's like I usually say that if I can't do something, then I'll say that probably He knows better. Like God knows better that I can not do it. He's not going to expect it from me. Come on, let's not attempt it. It's not. It's my own confidence. My faith depends on my strength. That's all. If I can do it, I can do it. My faith on God is in such a way that He is giving me strength to do it or not do it. If I can't do it, He is telling me, "Don't do it. Come on, it's okay." That much is my thing. Whenever I usually say, if that all there's some days where I'm really not feeling well, and it's at a very auspicious day where you have to give a whole meal to the God, and I can't do it. Like He knows that He can get only nuts from me today, so let's keep some nuts and finish off the puja. That's all is. Everyone, he has many places to go. Probably this much is enough from Shailaja's house. That's what he's saying.
Right. Wonderful. So thank you very much, Shailaja. Let's open it up to everyone. Whoever is present, you can maybe unmute yourself.
I wanted to also finish
Yes,
off with
please.
one note.
Tell me.
I'm on EcoSprint 75 mg for the past 6 years. Except that I'm not taking any other medicine.
Okay.
I've been on vitamin supplements like Riner Plus and Neurobion, like time to time. Like
But
doctors
now
tell me,
only
just take it
EcoSprint.
on a daily basis.
Now
Only
only
EcoSprint.
EcoSprint. Okay, great.
Only EcoSprint 75 mg every day. That's all. So that is my medication. So just wanted to tell everyone so that if there are any inputs on any other medication, I can take it.
Fine, great. Fine. As I said, anyone can maybe unmute themselves and maybe comment their thoughts. We are past 8, but any thoughts, any expressions that you have are welcome. I'm seeing Mitali. Yeah, Mitali.
Yeah, Shailaja had a good journey, I mean, smooth journey. She mentioned about Varma therapy. I didn't understand that. What is Varma therapy?
Varma therapy is a therapy, ma'am, where your nerve points are actually activated by touching. There are Varma therapists available in different centers. You can see, or
Actually, a
I can
Varma
also.
therapy, we had a Varma therapy session, Mitali also. I think there's a video also on our channel. There was someone from, I think someone from South only who logged in.
Yes,
As
sir.
I
Yes.
understand, it is closer to acupressure. You press some points, right, Shailaja?
Yes, sir. Actually, I was just searching through. We have had the post in Telegram sometime back on Varma
Yes,
therapy. Yes.
yes,
They
yes.
touch those points, ma'am, actually, and they actually sense if there be blocks in nerves. That is what is their theory. They are saying that that particular finger is not working because the nerve runs through here and it connects to to the brain. So they will just touch and see and activate that point. That is the therapy. So slowly they will be doing it. It will be a bit painful process, but I think the shoulder to the shoulder connection, the shoulder stiffness, these kind of things get cured easily in Varma therapy. If you
So did
want,
you
there's a my yes, ma'am.
find it effective?
Yes, ma'am. I found it effective. That's why there was a problem with my friend's location. Otherwise, she's offering even online sessions now. So it's effective. Definitely, it's effective.
Okay, very
There
good.
are, what I recall, there were two issues there. One, the blockage could be in the nerves running from the brain to the limb in question. So they try to clear it by certain exercises, certain movements, including also tapping and pressing on some points in the brain, on the scalp also, and maybe on the shoulder, etc. There's quite a detailed session on that on YouTube that we had. And certainly, maybe Shailaja, if your friend wants to come for another session,
Yes, sir.
we can have another session.
Yes, yes, definitely. Her
On that.
name is Vardhini. She's trained in Varma, ma'am. She's in Madurai. So she'll be probably coming in Chennai. She's actually looking for relocating to Chennai so that she can reach out to many people from here. It's a bit difficult from there. So she can reach out to people. She'll be available in another 10, 15 days max. Of course, Diwali she's relocating. That's what she said. So she should be available by this month end, ma'am. I can even ask her to join the group. Check out and tell what she's doing so that you can see. But it's a very effective treatment, and there are exercises in Varma stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 which you can follow.
Fine. Anyone else would like to say something? Maybe they can unmute themselves. Okay, I think we can close the meeting. Sorry, Subhashji, boliye.
Shailaja madam, thank you very much for such a clear picture about what you have told.
Thank you, sir.
The thing I want to ask is, my brother-in-law had a stroke, so he's having an issues, psychological issues. Did you face anything, and how did you overcome this?
Yes, psychological. So everyone started targeting something. They had to say something. So they were like, "What is the cause?" Everyone is a doctor at that time. Who is next to you, right? So they were like starting to see a cause, and psychologically it was very depressing, sir. And I stuck to spiritual books at that time, because I thought when I took a book in hand, that nobody is going to talk to me at least at that point of time. So I actually diverted everyone out of my life at that time. I go to the room after having my meal, and I actually, stuck to spirituality. There's a book called Krishna, which is available in all the languages. I suppose it's very good. I mean, according to me, I felt it was very good. It's available in all the ISKCON centers, which just tells you why we are here, what is the purpose of God in our life. Rather than the book, I can say that sticking to something which is interesting, like your own hobby, like drawing. The DP which I put is my drawing. So sticking to drawing or going with your hobbies helps a lot, because not everyone in your life is going to understand what you're going through, including the ones next to you, because when you're missing out on calculations of stuff, they're going to point out telling that what is it, what happened to you, that kind of thing. They'll not understand it's because of fatigue or something that they're encountering. So psychologically it's very depressing at that point. But overcoming it, definitely you will have to divert your attention to something that you like. Music is the best thing because everyone has a cell phone now. At least at that point of time, it was not very common. Holding a good smartphone with internet connection was not very common. At least now it is very easy. So music is very good to divert your thoughts, books, and making sure that you're around with people who are very, very friendly to you is also very important. You can always shut out people for some time, because it's not going to really help. At least for some time, you can make sure that people who are talking a bit depressingly are not around that person for some time.
Okay, one more question. Did you had any speech or swallowing problem?
No, sir, I did not have any problem with speech.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
The stroke was on the left side. The left side was affected. So speech is an issue which happens normally when the right side of the body is affected. So that way, yes, which is also, frankly, it's very good, because if his speech is lost, that itself leads to a lot of.
Yeah, that'll be very depressing. At least for my case, it'll be very depressing. Like I usually communicate a lot, so it'll be very depressing.
Right.
So I was fortunate enough to say a good in the bad thing. Probably that is what I should say.
Anyway, I think Dr. Partha is joining, but he's anyway. If anyone has
Shailaja, Hardeep Sodhi, Mr. Hardeep Sodhi, I had a question. So, was Shailaja on antidepressive medication or any psychotropic medication?
No, ma'am. Except for I was pregnant at that time, so I was prescribed some multivitamins like Renerve Plus, and eventually only Dolo if I encounter some pain. 1 Dolo per day, Dolo 650 per day if I have pain on the left side. Other than that, only Ecosprin 75 mg. That's all. Until now, I'm on Ecosprin 75 mg. No other medication. And during my, if at all it is informative for you, since it was a plant injection, I took heparin injection manually. I injected them myself injection because I had to be away from my Ecosprin for 6 weeks, basically 42 days. I took heparin injections.
Yeah, I mean, you injected yourself, is it?
Yeah, it's available, like small insulin kind of injection.
Okay. So the doctor,
because it's
that you can take it yourself.
Yeah, it is I think if it's informative for you, because I was on a surgery. It was a C-section, and then I should not take blood clot avoiding medicine. So I was on a heparin injection for 42 days, 6 weeks.
Okay. Fine. I think we can close the meeting then. Thank you very much, Shailaja, and everyone who joined it.
Yeah.
It was great.
Thank you so much for hearing me out, basically, because it's been a long time since I spoke this openly to everybody. So thank you very much for hearing me out. Thank you for the opportunity. I wish I can create more awareness on this, because I wanted to really, tell everyone to, bounce back after this. It's not the end of the world. So I wish I can inspire someone. I wish I can share more insights on this, definitely, going forward also.
Right.
Thank you very much, sir, Hardeep sir, for giving me this.
Thank you very much.
Everyone.
Thank you, sir.
The meeting now, Shailaja. Thank you.
Thank you.
all.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night. Good night, everyone.
Night, everyone.